I just want to take a minute to talk about the Canon EOS 90D. Now, I'm not going to go over the entire specs of this camera, but I will say this. For video and photography, this camera is well rounded. Right now I'm using the 18 by 135, and I'm using the pure audio from this camera. I didn't put my mics on it, so we get the real audio from the camera so we can actually see how this works. I'm not going to go over the specs of it, but it doesn't shoot 11 frames per second. I don't know where they get that myth from. Maybe they're just trying to deter you from buying it or purchasing it. I don't know. But I don't get 11 frames per second, and I don't really shoot the entire frames that I do get. If it's action, I might rattle off maybe 20 shots. Now, I do use C-RAW, and I'm not always in RAW mode, so maybe that's why I get more pictures than what they say it gets. But I do shoot in C-RAW, and I do have a very expensive card in here. I'm not disappointed that it takes one card. That's pretty fine for me. I'm just glad the card is not at the bottom of the camera in itself. So even when it's on a tripod, I still can function and interact with the card and switch cards if I need to. So that's great. The Canon EOS 90D will not get old in the future. Why will it not get old in the future? Because of what the battery life and the capabilities of it does. You don't need 4K or 6K or 8K bit RAW. You don't need none of that really. Only thing you need is tell a story. That's all you need. You just need to tell a story with your video. I could shoot this in full HDR and you wouldn't recognize the difference whether I was in 4K or if I was in full HD. So basically what they sell you is a name, just like Android. Android was literally the Linux kernel. If you never dealt with Microsoft or Ubuntu or the Linux kernel, then you wouldn't have any idea what I'm telling you. But what I'm telling you is that Android is literally the Linux kernel on how they run the Linux system. But they market it as an Android. So they sold you an Android instead of the Linux system. And that's interesting. So when they talk about 8K and 4K and 24K and all these Ks, you know, this is a cinematic Canon profile that I created. This is not me going to Canon and downloading a cinematic profile. This is basically me turning down the color all the way and increasing the contrast. That's all I did. So I look pretty plain right now. I don't look like I'm fully saturated. And that's basically all cinematic or C-Log actually does. To actually put it in a video and edit it and prograde it, that's not even necessary when you get it right. A lot of things people cry about and want, Canon has it already in a cinematic department. They don't really need to do too much to their DSLRs or their mirrorless cameras. If you really want the video to look cinematic and you really want that, the CR5, the R5C will be for you. But the data, I don't have a fancy computer to where I can transfer all this data. That's one thing I like about the 90D. The 90D doesn't take a lot of data for video. Now this video is longer than I wanted it to be, but people need to understand what they're purchasing. At this moment, I don't feel like I need a new camera. At this moment, I don't feel like, you know, I'm falling behind because everybody bought a mirrorless camera. At this moment, I don't feel like the lenses that I bought was a waste of money. I think everything I bought for my 90D to the 80D to the T7 Rebel Eye, all these lenses work perfectly with no adapter. I don't need no adapter. I got a battery grip on this camera, so basically it runs for a long time. And most mirrorless cameras did not come with a battery grip. I don't have rolling shutter. I actually took the 90D for a drive, and I wasn't driving, somebody else was, and I put it in electronic mode to see what it do. And I took pictures while we were moving, and the pose looked at the same, the trees looked at the same, everything looked at the same. It did not roll or encounter a rolling shutter. The 90D could just be for you. I know this video is totally long and it's gonna be hard to pull, but I'll take the time to pull it because I want to share what the 90D do. I don't want to sugarcoat anything that this camera's been doing for me since I've had it. It's been a workhorse, and I almost made my money back off of it. Just about made my money back off this camera. As far as the lenses, I purchased 4 extra lenses, and right now I think I got 1, 2, 3 with me. Here's the Canon 85. The Canon 85 was a concept lens that I did not know was close to everything. I thought maybe the 85 would pull me back, but it didn't. It pushed me forward. So for it to be what it is, I like it because it's manually focused and it get closest to most things. Actually, if you multiply it, it gets closer than this lens on a zoom. This lens is a 118 by 135 nano USM. I love it because it's quiet. I can shoot video with it all day and it really won't say a word. And that's the beautifulest part about it. Now, I did learn about aperture in the video. Aperture in the video does make sense, but at the same time, it will lower the brightness of the video. But it will bring everything in contrast for you. It will. Everything that you want in contrast, it'll bring it to you. But do you want everything in the video? Probably not. You probably wouldn't want everything in the video. And the Canon EOS 90D is so easily to operate even in video. Even in video, you can clearly operate this thing with no problems. So when it comes to the EOS Canon 90D, it's a workhorse, and I'm glad they created it because I get to play with it and never let it go. You know, after playing with any camera, because I can use any camera. My profession allows me to use any camera in the world. It allows me to do that. It's all in your head. It's all in your head. But Canon makes it very simple, plain, and uncut. If you get lost with a Canon camera, then you might want to read the book, because it's impossible to get lost in a Canon camera. Hey, this is Rabbi Levi talking about the 90D. Stay tuned for more content. Now, I understand that they have come out with multiple cameras since the 90D came out. But is they necessary? Do you have the clientele to really push that camera beyond the 90D? 45.2 megapixel sensor. Sounds interesting to me. But this 32.5 sounds better. I don't want too much digital image. I just want enough digital image. You know, you ever heard that there is enough digital image and then there's too much digital image? There could be some noise in too much digital image. Not saying that Canon would have that, but most cameras will have it. So if I actually boost up this ISO to its full potential, which is 51.2, you would get a lot of noise out of this camera. But I found a way to keep my videos and my pictures clean. 32 to 6400 comes out clean. I don't feel like I need to upgrade because this is my biggest upgrade. I'm excited about this upgrade. I'm excited to have purchased this device and to be able to create content and feel good about it. You know, I don't feel disappointed about my 90D. I don't feel disappointed that it doesn't have 2 card slots. That doesn't impress me. I never really had a camera with 2 card slots. You understand that? I never really had a camera with 2 card slots. I just had a bunch of glass, you know. They all fit Canon cameras. I've shot Sony. I don't like some of the Sony's viewfinders on the left side, you know. That kind of throws me off. I like Canon that keeps it simple and straightforward. That way it's easy for me to compose my pictures and take a beautiful shot.